Morning, everyone. As Nolutando has said, my name is Terrie, also known as Terrie Talks on YouTube. So we are going to go on your phones and you will search Terrie Talks, Terrie Talks on YouTube, and you will find your favorite on the internet, honey. Terrie. That's where she exists in one form. So anyway, this topic, I was telling my friend, welcome, my best friend, hey, who has come to support. I was saying, when I prepared for this topic, I wanted to be light, right? I wanted to, oh no, you can't share that. You can't say that. Oh no, they can't find out. And I was like, you know what? You're being authentic. You're being real. Love is messy. Love is dirty. They need to hear it. You need to speak it. You cannot get off that platform and not say the things I'm about to say and say I've spoken about authentic self-love. It's not going to happen. So I was like, okay, show up in all your messiness. Show up. This is an appropriate thing for me to do. As I was speaking to Welcome, Welcome and I, Oprah and Gail, I don't need therapy because of this human being. I pour myself out and do not even limit what I say, which is also an important aspect of self-love. You need others that you can share with, that you can speak to. So I was like, friend, I'm having many full circle moments in this moment. I even had a moment where I went back and read a diary from 2005, 2006. I was 18, 19, and a lot of the entries are about boys and how I love them, and then the next part is how I hate them and how I don't want to see them and how I'm over them. It was the funniest thing to read. I'm over you-know-who. Dear diary, I'm over you-know-who. I'm like, no, you were not over him. So anyway, it was very interesting to see where my 18, 19-year-old mind was and where my 32-year-old mind is, and how I have extraordinarily, it's on leave, it went on leave. It works Monday to Friday, so let's not judge each other. How extraordinarily I have showed up for myself. And it took a lot to show up, to be at this place and show up for myself. So anyway, that was not even the beginning. I wrote something that I'm going to use as a framework for my talk today. What is authentic self-love? I have been considering what I am going to say today since I found out I would be speaking here today. I thought this would be an easy task, however, it has proved otherwise. I have been looking back at my own journey of self-love and where I am currently at. At the moment, it has not been an easy journey to say the least. I've been thinking that the easiest way to do this would be in a step form. In that way, you guys will pay attention, as your brains have been trained to pay attention, absorb information like this through all of the years you have ever been at school. Now, those who didn't pay attention at school will have to do so now. All those years of not paying attention are now catching up with you, which is another lesson in self-love. A lesson not learned is a lesson repeated, in my experience. So as your teachers would say, these are the 5 steps of authentic self-love. Listening, students? Step 1. You cannot truly love yourself if you have not confronted your past traumas. Oh, my dear black children. We have been traumatized. We have grown up with trauma. Our first places of traumatic experiences, you will be surprised, are not outside the home. They are within the four walls you grew up in. And you are sitting there, you want to confront Umama what's next door. No, it's not Umama what's next door. It's the mama you live with in the house. Those are our first experiences of trauma. And also, when you look at television shows like Kumbule Kaya, Please Step In, those shows, do they take their neighbors or their colleagues? Yeah, she hasn't spoken to me in 3 weeks. I'm taking her to Please Step In. Please step in, must step in. I can't deal with this colleague that's not greeting me. No, it's my mom, my dad, my sister, my aunt that raised me, my uncle that raised me, my grandmother that raised me. I need Please Step In to come in and help me. Now, dear friends, as I've already mentioned that I am 32 years old, and I'll say this, I'll go for 32, honey. When I left my 20s, I'm a very introspective person. When I left my 20s, I said to myself, I do not want to take toxic behaviors that I did in my 20s into my 30s. I will be doing myself a disservice. You have been on this planet for now 30 years. You cannot go into the next 10 years with bad and toxic behaviors that you took or applied in your 20s. You need to be a different you in your 30s. What are your issues, my darling? Sit down with yourself and count what your issues are. My biggest issue, which I have not even shared on my channel yet because I didn't feel comfortable, but it has forced its way into being shared today, and it will go up on my channel. My biggest issue, as some of you may or may not see, of course will be daddy issues when you're a person like me. Of course you're the firstborn son who wears makeup. Of course it's going to be issues with your father. My biggest issue was my father. My biggest issue was the lack of a relationship that I had with my father. I always pushed it to the back of my head and said, one day. And that one day came last year when I was 31 years old. I finally realized in order for me to move forward with myself and with my life, I had to confront my issue. I had to confront my trauma. I started going back in time chronologically to when I was 5, 6, 7. By the way, black parents will always try to deny that you remember things from 5 years old. You do. You do. You existed. You were a person. You were a full human being at 5 years old with a soul. You remember. I remembered. I remember sitting down with my dad last year and saying, you did this to me when I was 5 years old. Ha! Ay, umaka. Ay, when you were fed. I'm like, if I was fed, the person, this particular experience that I'm sharing with you, the person wasn't there. How will they have fed it to me? It is what I remember. I remember asking you for a cake, and you said, no, cake. A few months down the line, you bought my sister a cake. And that sat with me to say, oh, he doesn't love me. At 5 years old, I internalized that. And those were the things I needed to address with my father. Those were the things I needed to take out and say, this is how you have made me feel. This is the experience I have had with you as a parent. And it has not been a pleasant experience. So today, I am here to get this load off of my chest. And I did. One thing I need to tell you is that when you do these confrontations, these coming up to your parents, your elders, your whatever, do not expect a positive response. But expect to give yourself a voice. Expect to be heard. Regardless of how they retaliate, they will hear you. The week prior to me going to my father, I remember crying. I remember crying so much and saying, oh my gosh, I'm finally showing up for my 7-year-old self. I'm finally showing up for the 10-year-old that said, one day I'm going to tell him how he made me feel. Oh my gosh, 31 years later, I'm showing up for that person. Wow. Needless to say, I didn't cry though during the discussion. I was poised. I was there to voice myself. I was there to tell my story. So I couldn't really be too emotional about it. You know, I needed to give that child a voice and say and articulate my thoughts and what I had come to say. So I confronted my trauma. This trauma, might I tell you, seeped into other aspects of my life. It seeped into the aspect of loving myself. I couldn't fully love myself because I believed my parent didn't love me, so why should I not? Why should I love me? I walked into a situation with men, Murphy's Law, dirty daddy issues, and you're a person like me and you're attracted to people of the same sex. You're going to have issues, darling. You are going to have issues. I willingly walked into a situation with people who were emotionally unavailable. I willingly walked into situations where I set myself up, knowing very well that I would be disappointed. So I can say, yes, I knew it. Yes, I knew it. I proved myself right. They were going to disappoint me. But the process of going through that thing, I was hurting myself. The process of going through that thing, I was doing a disservice to myself. The process of giving those people a chance when I didn't have to, when I shouldn't have given them a chance, I was doing me wrong. And that's what I realized post. So I'm going to talk about post-meeting, pre-meeting me. The meeting is with my dad, right? So as I go on, I will be saying post-meeting, those are the things that I realized. That's step number 1. Confront your past traumas. No matter how big or small they are, confront your past traumas. Go through them. Not around, not over, not under, through. So you can get on the other side a better person, a healed person. Step 2. After addressing your traumas, let go of all the emotional toxicity. Stop the toxic behaviors that you were doing because of the trauma. Now, we all know toxic behaviors, and there are different types of toxic behaviors in the world, such as you can be a sex addict, you can be a drug addict, an alcoholic, an emotional eater. So now I had to sit and say, ooh, Terrie, what are your issues? And well, one of them was not far from me. You know what I'm saying? Emotional eating. Okay. The next one that I realized was toxic relationships with men. So I had to sit down and address those. The first thing I told myself was, honey, and everybody's honey. So my YouTube followers are honeys. So, honey, you have confronted your trauma. It's now time to behave differently. You cannot emotionally eat because you are covering something up. You have confronted it, dear. You cannot walk into a situation with men that are emotionally unavailable. You have confronted it. You need to start acting differently. You need to start doing things differently now. You can't get up and eat all day long and knowing very well that you're full, but you're just covering something up. That can't happen. Then you haven't confronted it. Then you need to go back and have another meeting with your dad and confront him again so that you can come back and fix yourself. I'm not saying I am now the world's healthiest person, runs 300 miles, eats salads Monday to Monday. No, I have made significant changes. Even a colleague of mine made a remark the other day to say, actually, your eating, your eating has changed. And I say, why? And I said, why? And he said, breakfast yakho. Bodla ngathi usebenza contract yini. Guys, I used to have 6 slices of bread, 4 eggs, beans and, from the canteen, beans and whatever sauce they make in the morning with onions and tomato, a cheese griller, a Russian, 500 mils of Coke and coffee. That was my breakfast. And I would eat and eat, even knowing what I'm full. Today, I've changed that to a simple 2 slices of health bread with my fillings, which are my guilty pleasure, like burger patties, cheese. But it is a long way from almost eating half a loaf in the morning to eating 2 slices voluntarily and not having an issue. That is a win. The rest of the day, ningenapi. Ningenapi lapho. Mina, my win is having a healthy breakfast. But what I am saying is that you're not going to stop your toxic behaviors overnight. It is however many years you have been living and doing these things, and that will not change overnight. A behavior you have been doing for 20 years is not going to change overnight. Be gentle with yourself. Be patient with yourself. You are going to find moments where you fall in the arms again of an emotionally unavailable man. But you know what's the difference now? Is that the next day you walk away. You don't stay 3 weeks. You don't stay a month. You walk away the next day and you forgive yourself. Step number 2. Step number 3. After you've done all of this, you need to redefine love for yourself. I lived my life not as myself, but trying to please my father. Even though he didn't see me, I still tried to please him. I still tried to dress like a man. Honey! I was saying today, while dressing up, I'm wearing the same clothes, but I'm wearing them as a new person because I'm discovering myself anew. I'm realizing that I like to wear dresses. I'm gonna wear dresses. In fact, I rock dresses better than a lot of people. And that's how it's gonna be. I like makeup. I'm gonna wear makeup. I like doing my nails. I'm gonna do my nails unapologetically. I'm gonna present myself to the world how I want to present myself. I show up to work like this. It's a political statement. I didn't know I was making a political statement, but it's a political statement in an environment which requires me to wear a suit and a tie, and I say, no, I'm going to show up as me. People come up to me and say, I like you. I'm like, why? You're just you. Like, really? Yes, you're just you. You're doing you. I'm like, that's the only way I know. Guys, if anybody has ever spoken to somebody who has come back from the dead, please let me know. I'd also like to speak to that person because I don't remember anybody coming back. You are gone, and there is one life. That you are, guys, you are gone, Yo, I didn't go to heaven because of the 10 men I was dating. We don't know. Asazi. Do you? From the other side, you will see. One thing I can tell you as a person who in 2010, the spirit world does not care about what you do in this life. It cares about your spirit. One thing you need to know is that you have a home. Even if you're alone in this life, on that other side you have a home. You belong to people, and they belong to you. They are there for you, they are guiding you, they are with you. You know that accident you almost had? You know that bankruptcy that almost happened but didn't happen? You know that brokenness that you lived through and you still ate and you saw the next month? You know those things? They were there for you. You know how you picked yourself up and you said, I just got energy out of nowhere and I decided to pick myself up. Amadlozwako. They care for you. They love you. They don't care what you do on this side of the earth. All they care is how you take care of yourself, your spirit, more than anything. That's step 2. Step 3. Oh, step 3. That was step 3. Step 4. Be kind with yourself. Tell the truth, and tell the truth to yourself first. I saw that. Now, going forward in my future, I'm going to speak on a lot of stages. Okay? One thing I'm going to do when I do speak, I'm going to read the Gospel of Beyonce, read the Gospel of Oprah, read the Gospel of Maya Angelou. So on Beyonce's Homecoming, there is a voiceover of Maya Angelou who says, what would you like to teach this generation? And Maya Angelou says, tell the truth in her voice. Tell the truth. but to yourself first before you tell it to other people. Okay, Mike, don't test me. Tell the truth to yourself first before you tell it to other people. You cannot be honest with other people if you're not honest with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Always be willing to learn and unlearn. Always be willing to learn and unlearn. We have learned wrong things. We are going to unlearn wrong things and learn new things. Always be open-minded to learning, unlearning, and learning anew. Step 5. This is a never-ending cycle. Repeat from step 1. Repeat from step 1. It's a never-ending cycle. There's something else. You have another issue. You have another issue. Confront that one now. Okay, you've dealt with the big ones. It's the little ones. The fact that you don't trust people. Deal with it. Step 1 again. Why don't you trust people? What is the issue with you not trusting people? How can you trust people better? How can you trust yourself? You know what? It's not that you don't trust people. You don't trust you, boo. You don't trust you. And how can you not trust you? Because you live with yourself 24 hours. You need to trust you. You're doing the best that you can. Okay. I know I said there are 5 steps, but allow me to introduce step 6. Step 6. Find your calling and be brave enough to live it. What is it that you are meant to do? What do you want to do? Now, okay, me, reading my diary from 2005, 2006. 2005, I was in matric, I was crushing on the boys, writing about them in my diary, but also wanting to study and writing about how I want to study, writing about how I don't believe in myself, I need to believe in myself. And when I do go back, I was like, yeah, I really didn't believe in me. And people saw me as this larger-than-life personality, but I didn't believe in me. And I even wrote that down, that I do not believe in me. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry for you, that you didn't believe in you. Now, in those years, I dropped out of varsity. And the next thing, for me, my next issue was going back to school. My next issue has always been, oh, I need to go back to school because I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I can do this thing, you can do this thing, boo. You need to go back. It had always been a recurring issue in my life, right? I didn't believe I could be this person. I didn't believe then that I am meant to do this. I am meant to stand on stages and I'm meant to speak to people. I'm meant to heal people in that way. I didn't believe it. Oh, now you don't need to tell me twice. You don't need to tell me twice, honey. I didn't believe my calling. Because our callings come to us, even at 18, 19. You know you want to be a nurse, but you know I'm not smart enough to be a nurse. You know what you want to do. You know it. It's just that you're not brave enough to follow it, and you don't believe in you enough. So I'm having a full circle moment in my life where yesterday I was sitting at home, I'm on study leave. I'm studying, and I'm reading that I need to go back to school, entry. And here I am, at 32 years old, doing my first degree. In my second year, very proud of myself, very happy that I am finally fulfilling that childhood wish of having a degree. It's no longer a problem. I'm addressing it because I found my calling. You know what? I've always wanted to be an Oprah. Guess what? I gave myself a show. You get a show. You get a show. I gave myself a show. I love my YouTube channel. It allows me to be creative. I am a creative at heart. That is who I am. I thought maybe I'm supposed to be a doctor, a professional, or whatever. No. I am a creative. I gave myself the platform that I've always wanted. I always saw myself on Oprah's stage. I gave myself that platform on my channel. The responses I'm getting from people about, yes, I love this, you're doing well, yes, keep it coming. I'm like, yes. I don't know where it's going to take me. It's a couple of months old. There's so much room for me to grow in this space, and I am ready to do the work. I am ready for the places it's going to take me, because I know very well it's going to take me very far. This is a start. Honoring this invitation and getting invited to do this is a start and an honor to that, to myself, to my calling. So find your calling. Whatever your calling is, be brave enough to show up for it. But you must do the work for being authentic. You must do the work for showing up to yourself. Messy. You need to show up to yourself messy. Deal with the mess and move on from there. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.